Meghan Markle is really, truly the Duchess of disaster. And in her own words, she admits that she is basically a horrifically awful business woman. I am so surprised at this point that Netflix is still keeping with her because between her exclaiming that, oh, yeah, I'm partnered with Netflix in my business. Megan, don't you mean your guys' business together? Because I'm sure Netflix owns a huge chunk of that if they are backing you. And of course, the epic train wreck that has been this whole as ever disaster with a trademark that's probably going to be sued, a name that's probably going to be sued. Oh my gosh, could she be any more horrific at this? It is the worst train wreck I think I've ever seen. And Meghan Markle trying to happy talk her way through this in an Instagram video is not making things any better. In fact, I would argue it makes it all the worse because it is so incredibly clear that this has been just behind the scenes. She has been scrambling to figure out what's going on. She's looking manic. She's looking strange. She's trying to, again, happy talk her way through this nonsense. But Meghan Markle, we are not buying your BS. And in fact, even though she actually asked for the name as ever way back in 2022, the registration for the trademark is still actually pending because she abandoned it because she was trying to go through something else. She has officially abandoned ARO. She has officially abandoned the email list she curated for that, although we might still see emails about it. Meghan Markle has done every stinking thing wrong possible. And it's horrifically embarrassing how poorly she has done. And I think this is increasingly looking bad on Netflix. And if they are not putting the absolute pressure on her right now to get her act together, then how in the world did they make several $billion? I am confused because this is some of the most horrific business practices I have ever seen, including steamrolling a small business. So bravo, Meghan Markle. Great job. So we are going to get into this today because Meghan Markle's abysmal business decisions continue to astound at this point. With all the backing she has, Netflix, I mean, she's siding them. So she's pulling in them into her madness. It's not looking good on anyone. So, like I said, it's good to explore this and maybe you might learn something about what not to do. But if you guys haven't been to Royal News Network before, hello, my name is Brittany. I provide compelling royal commentary. So, guys, please hit the subscribe button. Helps us grow. Join this community. It would be absolutely awesome to have you back. Oh my gosh. So last night I was about to go to bed and we had seen the whole as ever fiasco online already. She had posted it too early, then she took it down, then she put it partially back up. It went all over the place. And somebody mentioned to me, and it was like midnight. I was about to go to bed. And they're like, oh, Meghan just posted on Instagram. And I'm like, crap. So I watched, and of course, my brain starts spinning and spiraling with all the nonsense, with all the half truths, half lies mixed in there, with how she was trying to happy talk this fiasco through. And I have to say that if Meghan is trying to pull the wool over people's eyes, sure, some maybe very naive people might buy her explanation, but pretty much anybody with half a business mind knows she's just spouting complete and utter BS. And of course, you go down the rabbit hole. She launches the website. She's merching the kids as we always thought she would. This whole thing just reeks to high heaven. And unfortunately, a lot of people are going to get dragged in this process because she apparently just really can't do anything right. It's unbelievable in so many ways. So let's go ahead and start by taking a look at the video. Yes, I know some people will cringe, but the only way to do it is to look at the video, and I will tell you guys where I think she's misleading you because she is. Trust me. All right, so let's get started. And I will have to say as well, just looking at this has been slow to move. As famous as Meghan Markle is that she can't get this to tick up, that it took a while to get to 2 million is pretty shocking. People don't like her. And how I divide her following here up is a big chunk is just journalists. Another chunk is hate watchers. Another chunk is bots, I'm sure. Instagram is well known for being able to buy bots. And then she has her diehards. And then the casual viewer. I think the diehards are probably the smallest minority here. And she has already put herself on such a deficit with this because she has misled her audience now multiple times. She has misled them. She made them sign up for something that didn't exist. This means that your brand trust is diminished. And she has nobody else to blame but herself. So let's listen to this nonsense that she's trying to spin here.
This recording.
Okay.
And the stupid thing the two of them do here, trying to make it seem like they don't know what they're doing. Come on, guys. Who's fooled by this? Stop with the giggly nonsense. You're freaking adults. You know what the heck you're doing. Stop it. Nobody's buying it. It makes you look worse.
Cat's out of the bag. I'm shocked we've kept this a secret for so long. And
No, you haven't. We all talked about it all day. And we all knew you were selling things. You didn't keep it a secret. We saw it all play out. Stop acting like this is a big old secret. It's not. We've seen the trademarks the entire flipping time. The entire flipping time. Stop lying. Stop lying.
in 2 weeks, my show's coming out,
Which we all knew. No shock.
I'm so excited for. And
Nobody else is. Although it'll be great for content Meghan Markle. We are all looking forward to that.
also my business, which I think there's been a lot of curiosity about.
Has somebody stop laughing, Meghan? That's not cute. We're not curious. We are confused because you are a terrible business person, in my opinion. You are horrible at this. Even if it was some sort of PR ploy to get attention, it was a stupid ploy. It wasn't done well. And that might work if you didn't bungle the launch already. If you didn't switch the name, maybe it might have been a good tease. But instead, your whole business strategy has been just almost sheer stupidity at this point. I mean, this is the dumb leading the dumb here. This is so incredibly bad. And that Netflix, you're going to tout Netflix here in a second about how they're your partners. That's embarrassing for them. They should be horrifically embarrassed for associating themselves with you and having you apparently lead this disaster, because this is a disaster. And I'm sorry, but nobody is going to sit here and say this is a great thing. You've changed your mind. You've had to change things. This is a wreck. Stop trying to happy talk it. Admit it that you screwed up, but she doesn't.
Last year, I had thought, you know what, American Riviera, that sounds like such a great name.
That's not even the name of her brand. It's American Riviera Orchard. Even she can't get it right. Even she can't get it right. And why is she looking out over there? Yeah, and like squatting in the bushes. Are you peeing, Meghan Markle? I mean, we've been told that one of the things that endeared yourself to Harry was squatting and peeing in the bush in Africa. Are you trying to do that again here? This is a stupid place to do it. She's trying so hard to come across as authentic and natural, but it looks anything but. Do it like a real person. What is this nonsense squatting in the bushes with your hair all a mess again, touting your friend's $3,000 necklace, hoping that people are, foolish enough to buy? It's just ridiculous.
It's my neighborhood. It's a nickname for Santa Barbara.
Which nobody knew, as determined by the Vanity Fair article. So yeah, nobody knew that, Meghan Markle.
But it limited me to things that were just manufactured and grown in this area.
That is a lie. You couldn't do it because of the trademark. You couldn't do it. That is a lie. You couldn't do it because of the trademark issues. You couldn't get the stinking trademark. You abandoned it in the fall when you got the pushback yet again. I bet you if we go through and look, I think it was around September. I've done a lot of ARO pieces. About that time, they were told yet again, they were probably going to have issues with Harry and David. They couldn't get it because of the location. The logo was wrong. Like everything about it was wrong. You did it all wrong and you're doing it all wrong again.
And Netflix came on not just as my partner in the show, but as my partner in my business.
They should be horrifically embarrassed by that. They should be horrifically embarrassed by the two of you and your absolute ineptitude. This is so horrifically embarrassing. I mean, you almost see it here. She's acting so hard. Like it just comes across as so incredibly asinine and fake.
Which was huge. I thought about it.
What else were you going to do? You couldn't finance it. And at this point, nobody else would freaking buy into it. You bungled it 6 ways from Sunday. The gaslighting here is insane.
And I've been waiting for a moment to share a name that I had secured in 2022.
You did not secure it, Meghan Markle. It is still pending. It is still pending. I just looked. It is still pending. So you have not secured it. It's a name that doesn't make sense. It's a weird phrase. It doesn't work. Again,
And this is the moment. And it's called As Ever. As Ever essentially means as it's always been.
so it means you're going backwards. You're staying stagnant. That is just what people want to hear, is that you're boring, you're banal, you're not going anywhere. That seems like a great business avenue. Bravo.
And if you followed me since 2014 with the TIG, you know I've always loved cooking and crafting and gardening.
I've never seen her be crafty. I've never seen her be crafty. If flower arranging is crafty, maybe, but she's not crafty.
This is what I do, and I haven't been able to share it with you in the same way for
You decided to marry into the British royal family. That required something called sacrifice, which you seem incapable of doing. If you wanted to grow the TIG, if you wanted to do this, don't marry the guy. But you couldn't grow it without him. He is everything to your business. Let's be real here. You would be nothing without him.
the past few years, but now I can. So as things are starting to
Again, why in the heck is she squatting in the garden?
trickle out there, I wanted you to hear it from me first.
We've all been talking about it all day. And here's the thing I noticed about this too. She released this so stinking late in the day. It's very different than the other videos she's released, which are more in the early part of the day. I would say even sort of in the morning, even in her time zone. So for her to release this late at night, I think she was getting massive pressure from Netflix going, you need to fix this. You need to answer questions. You need to sort of, kind of massage this. They need to take restoration control of this from her, because she is driving this thing into the ground already. Hasn't even, moved an inch, and she's already crashing and burning it.
Of course, there will be fruit preserves. I think we're all clear at this point that jam is my jam.
I think the way she's looking away from camera and down, I think she's really frustrated that we're all focusing on the jam. But that's all you gave us, Meghan Markle. You can't blame us for focusing on jam when that's all you showed anyone was jam and some dog biscuits. And we were all like, why jam? Why jam? It's the stupidest product. It's the stupidest product to launch a brand with. It really is. It just is. She's so bad at this. And the amount of gaslighting here is insane. You can tell she's even like, get over the jam, everyone. There's going to be more. There's going to be more. But that's all you showed. You can't get mad at people when that's all you did.
But there's so many more products that I just love that I use in my home. And now it's time to share it with you.
Nobody wants it, Meghan Markle. No, nobody really wants it.
So I can't wait for you to see it. Thanks, guys.
So she actually ended it too early, which is kind of funny. But let's listen to this, or read some of this, you could say here. Some of you may have heard whispers about what I've been creating. You haven't created anything, Meghan Markle. You've been running around in circles. Let's be real. 2 weeks, my series on Netflix launches. We know. But there's something else I've been working on. I'm thrilled to introduce to you, As Ever, a horrifically named brand, a brand that's created that I poured my heart into. Gaslighting and lying again. How do we know this? Because she tried to do something else. If you put your heart and freaking soul into something, you want to make sure all your ducks are in a row. And she failed. So this is not something she poured her heart into. This is a soulless money grab like everything else she does. Everything else she does is a soulless money grab. It's why she married Harry. It's why she left the royal family. It's all about the money. It's all about the money. And so for her to say, oh, I poured my heart and soul into it, then why did you have to change the name, Meghan Markle? Why didn't you make sure you could use the name, Meghan Markle? Why are you still not sure you can use the name? Why did you steal the name from other people? Why? Golly, I hope somebody asks her that one day. As ever means as it's always been, or some even say in the same way as always. So you're going backwards. Yeah. Okay. Doesn't sound very exciting, does it? Sounds boring. Sounds banal, like everything she does. If you've followed along since my days creating the TIG, still also a horrible name, you'll know that this couldn't be truer for me. This new chapter is an extension of what has always been my love language, beautifully weaving together everything I cherish: food, gardening, entertaining, thoughtful living, and finding joy in the everyday. So not family, not friends, money, I believe is what all those should. Oh, and money. That's what should that really read. I will keep sharing behind the scenes tidbits with you here as we ramp up to launch. I can't wait for you to get your hands on everything we've been creating. Sending lots of love, as ever, Meghan. And let's look at the actual website here. Because there's a couple of things, of course, because Meghan can't do anything well or right. So we got Lilibet here. Don't give really two craps about that. But let's look at this little logo, which looks like the same one from Mallorca. Yeah. So she's probably going to be sued over that. It's also has not, like, as ever, these two things, look at these two things. Do these things go together at all? No. No, they don't go together. They don't go together. As ever, to me, seems whimsical. This seems tropical. She sucks at this. She really, really sucks at this. And Netflix, how in the world could you not get her some decent help with this? Why? Why? I guess this is probably referencing the palm trees or whatever she raves about or what have you, and then we're merching the kid because, of course, we're merching the kid because, she can't do anything without merching the kids. But these two things do not go together. They don't go together at all. At least American Riviera Orchard, there was a connection between the logo and the name, the way it looked and stuff. There was a similarity here. There's no similarity here. This is a horrible logo. It's a horrible logo. I get it. The entwined trees, the two birds representing the kids, hummingbirds, whatever. I get it. But in reality, this does not match. I expect as ever to be whimsical. This is not whimsical. Again, I'm thinking a tropical beach. I'm not thinking whatever as ever is supposed to be. And the kind of dumb thing about this name is that it's very meme worthy. As ever a failure, as ever delusional, as ever flopping, as ever stealing ideas, as ever ragging on the royal family, as ever a hypocrite, as ever a failure, as ever, as ever, as ever. You can make a variety of things with that you never could have with American Riviera Orchard. American Riviera Orchard was a terrible name. It was. This is maybe in some ways both better and worse. It's vague. It gives you no indication of what things are. And as ever, you mean stagnant? That's sort of what that could mean too. It's a fancy way of saying you're stagnant. And she is in many ways. She's stagnant. She can't grow. She's still constantly trying to get that massive payday. And looking at Netflix here, I just wonder what the heck were they thinking? I mean, seriously, what the heck were they thinking with this? I'm like shocked that they didn't have anybody helping her. Was she doing this on her own? Netflix, I mean, we need answers here. We need some serious answers because this is seriously bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. And there's a brand in New York, as ever, NYC, who are having issues because she couldn't get her own original name. How hard is it to come up with an original name? She can't do it. She can't do it. She's not creative. And she's destroying other businesses, stomping all over them. She's just like horrible business practices. Horrible. Horrible. If you're going to come up with a name of something, it should be unique and interesting and say something about the brand. Her brand and logo don't connect. This just goes back to the fact that she's trying to say, oh, I've been slaving over this. Oh, we've been working on this for so long. No, this is a hatchet job after the first idea failed. I don't know which idea this is. This might be 3, 4, or 5 at this point. This might be plan D, but that's where we are right now. We're on plan D. We're not on plan A or B or C. It's D. And that's why this is a wreck. This is a wreck because she ran into roadblocks so much, couldn't figure out how to get out of them, needed to launch this or was feeling immense amount of pressure from Netflix to launch this and just had to sort of try to rush it through. And it looks like a rush job. It looks like a hatchet job. It doesn't look like something well thought out, something that she took great passion in. It doesn't. It looks like everything else she's done, a soulless money grab, which is why this thing does not have a smooth launch like it should. And the way she's talking about Netflix is rather interesting. Now, this is just my thoughts and opinion as everything is in this video. Yes, although I'm pretty sure most of my stats are pretty on at this point, but what the interesting thing I find with Netflix is that she's acting like Netflix is really her partner, and that might be kind of it. But I imagine Netflix is technically her investor, which means that if Netflix was smart, and we've previously with Harry and Meghan, they're not. They signed on to a dud, and I think they know that, but they're kind of stuck with them. And they're hoping maybe, just maybe, she'll have enough sycophantic fans to make this work. But have you guys seen her slow Instagram growth? That's not really all that reassuring. Now, granted, anybody else, but like Jennifer Aniston got to like, I think 10 million pretty quickly. Meghan can barely scrimp together 2 million, and she's pretty famous. So yeah, not that great. Is that Netflix, because I'm sure they are the ones funding everything. So I have proposed this before, but I'm more convinced than ever is that part of the money that they were going to get in this deal was sort of changed over into manufacturing. So they've been manufacturing things. So in order to recoup what they have invested in this, they need to get, I would imagine, a royalty for every item sold. So they might get a huge chunk of whatever she sells, at least in the beginning. Now, in the future, they might get less if it turns out to be successful, but they might even own half of this. They might own 3/4 of it. She very much acted like she was spearheading this. This is my business and they're my partner in it. But I don't really think it's as much as her business as she's proclaiming. If you watch Shark Tank, you'll see them. They offer certain percentages of the company. So they offer 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 51, 49. It all depends on how much control they want. So if she has 49% and Netflix has 51, Netflix has control. But with this epic train wreck, I would imagine Netflix maybe doesn't have as much control, or they did more of a royalty type deal where Megan still kept maybe 100% of the company, but she doesn't make a dime until Netflix recoups its cost. That's maybe how I would do it. Because if this flops and Megan owns all of it, then she can try to resurrect it however she wants. Now, the other interesting thing is that Megan, because of, and the other interesting option is that what if Netflix owns a bigger chunk of it? And if it fails, Netflix takes all that stuff with them. But I can't imagine, unless she's just so incredibly bullheaded to work with. And we know she is. She doesn't take advice. She doesn't take direction. She makes the wrong mistake every time. She might, I would have to believe she owns the majority stake, which I just think is sheer stupidity. Netflix should be running this, not her, because she clearly cannot do it. She is seems to be just utterly incapable of this. And it's not a good look to be trampling on other businesses. It's not a good look to have to change your name last minute. And she's essentially in that video she did and in that description, she was lying. She was clearly, in my opinion, I think she was lying. Saying, I worked so hard on this. This is a passion project of mine. Well, then why did you change the name? If it's a passion project, wouldn't you try to make sure you had every single thing in a row so you don't have this kind of issue? I just can't see any other way around it, except for failure, except for ineptitude, except for so many things. This is just a disaster. I think it reflects very poorly on Netflix as a business that they not only invested in her, but are allegedly her partners. I'd be really curious if that's the wording they would use. They haven't said anything, which I think is really clear. Although they might be allowing her to fail on her own to get her out of the way because they're so sick of the deal. And if they let her own 100% of it and they tell her, well, you don't make a dime until we make all our investment back, then she might either fly or stumble. It all depends. Now, granted, she'll get hate watchers and she'll get her sycophantic fans to buy it. Now, it depends on, again, guys, they can be clever with the numbers by producing just a small batch. If you've produced a small batch and not a huge batch, if you sell out on a small batch, it makes it look like it's going hot rather than making a huge batch and having it sit there for a long time. So I would be fascinated to learn when they launch things, how much, but I go back to her original proposition. Jam. Jam. And you could tell even at that point, she's frustrated. I saw an In Touch Weekly article, and I don't subscribe to them too much, but they said that Meghan was frustrated that people were just focusing on the jam. But hello, Meghan, all you showed us was jam. You showed us nothing else. She's so bad at this. It would be one thing if she had showed us like this process for a while. Like, Guys, I have said the entire time about American Riviera Orchard. As she's going through, why doesn't she do a behind the scenes newsletter every week on the progress? Then maybe the switch over to As Ever would be smoother than this train wreck that it is, because she's literally 2 weeks from launching her show. And now all of a sudden it's As Ever. So I'm more convinced actually than ever than delaying the show was not about the fires, but about finally getting the manufacturing in a row. Because now she's done this when she should have done this way before. I think it was maybe the 8th or 9th or something when she switched it. It was about a week before it was supposed to launch, and she did this 2 weeks before. So I'm also curious if it was an intentional leaking of the page or if it was an accident. Because to me, this seems like a hatchet job really quickly. And she's, I think, trying to be like a normal social person. I was like, Meghan, would make so much more sense for you to just stand there and talk rather than sitting on your tush in the garden, getting your butt wet or dirty in the moss or something or in the grass. Like, why are you crouching in the bushes? It's weird. It's so weird. And I mean, she's trying to make it look natural. At least we know Harry was there. So most likely it was this week. I mean, I do believe it was this week. And I think she got a lot of pressure. But even if she teased it, this is not how you tease something. You She looks like a disaster. I cannot think of any business person who's honest who would tell me this was a good way to do things. Yes, she's generated, you could say, some buzz, but it's not good buzz. And I know other people, like there a lot of people still believe the old adage, all good press is good press. That's not true anymore. We've seen shows and movies that get a massive amount of press or a massive amount of talk in the spheres where they should really succeed, and they fail. You know why? Because even with all the quote unquote press, people are talking. People don't invest because they're actually watching other people react. I will be doing a reaction video to this series. I might do a members only watch party, something like that to the series. And so when it comes to this whole thing, more people I think will be interested in watching people react to it than actually watching her. And that is a kiss of death. That is a kiss of death. I think this thing, it might be somewhat successful. It could also be a massive fail. Let's be honest. It might be a massive, huge, like glaring failure here. And she has nobody else to blame. She might blame Netflix. I imagine she will. She blames everybody else for her failures. Netflix is par for the course. But I imagine so much, as ever, will turn from gold to coal at the hands of Meghan Markle. Now, I could be totally wrong, but this does not endear or engender confidence. Because, like I said earlier, guys, she sort of looks like to her audience that she lied. She had them sign up for an email to a company that never existed, that only existed in her mind. She had people essentially invest in a concept that she can never go through with. So I think for her audience, I mean, not her diehards, they'll always love her, but for the general public, I think she's lost a little bit of credibility. She's lost a little bit of trust, and that's key for business. And it all comes back to her. She didn't have to launch it in March if she wasn't ready. Like, I don't understand. And she obviously changed it around in September. That's when she started redoing all this stuff, September, October last year. She started redoing all this stuff because everything failed. And so she had to go back again. And it's like, come on, that was even after she finished filming the show. Come on now. It's just insane to me. So we will see if this is successful, but I don't have high hopes. I don't. I mean, there's a sucker born every minute. I'm sure she'll get views and purchases and everything. But I think she's lost this sense of trust with people. People like Gwyneth Paltrow. They think she's ridiculous, but they still like her. I don't think people like Meghan Markle. I don't think they trust her. And this just screams of ineptitude. It doesn't scream of a woman passionate about this product or brand. It seems like a woman scrambling. She seemed uncomfortable in the video to a certain extent. She was trying to happy talk it, but I imagine Netflix is behind her going, you need to fix your mess and fix it now. And I don't think she did herself any favors here. So it's going to fail yet again. We shall see, though. I could be totally wrong. Maybe, guys, this will be the best thing. But Meghan has one huge hurdle here. She has to have the best freaking products possible. If her products have defects, it's going to kill her brand. That has killed other influencer brands is bad products. She has to have the best products imaginable. If they fail, if people have issues, if people don't like them, oh boy, is that going to go everywhere, which is the last thing she needs. But again, Meghan, I would hope that you put more thought and care into the products than you did in the name and logo, because if you didn't, oh, it's going to be a fun spring. So guys, let me know what you think of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, for your support, and I shall talk to you again soon. Bye.